Meeting on April 6th today. We have several things to discuss. We're going to do something a little bit different now. This will be the first time we've going to be videoed, and we'll be on YouTube for the public to see what we're doing here. Like I say, doing something a little bit different here. We've not done it before. We're going to do a moment of silence shortly, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll get the meeting started. So for a few seconds, let's have a moment of silence. Okay, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. In attendance today, we have me as a chairman of the board. Diane, you're there, is that correct? Diane Nauman? Diane's here. Scott Hauser's here at the meeting. Diane is doing it by telephone. Iva Gazaway, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, I will be on phone. Carl Stout, the other member, will be here hopefully shortly. He's not on the phone just yet. We'll get started here. We have the roll call. We have to have a quorum. Public hearing for establishment of the Central TIF District. Do you mind explaining that a little bit, Tammy?
All right. Several months ago, the Redevelopment Board moved to create deferred tax dollars into what they call a Central TIF District Fund. The capturing of assessments was from state assessed utilities, revenue generated from the payments made by Jackson Connect for their fiber optic network installation. Everything in the unincorporated areas of Scott County that was developed by Jackson Connect could be captured in their growth assessments for the TIF deferred funding. And we would move then at that particular time all the monies over into a fund under the TIF plan that would allow those monies to be used for road improvements and drainage improvements specifically. There are only 5 taxing parcels right now. Again, they're state assessed utilities. This is not locally assessed. And those proceeds would be for anything in the unincorporated areas of Scott County. And we went ahead and included Lexington Township, even though there's no fiber optic development right now by Jackson Connect in Lexington. We hope one of these days and anticipate that there might be some of that would wrap around and go down into the Lexington area. So allowances were made for all unincorporated areas of Scott County. So
Gotta leave it open.
therefore, this is the conclusion. It has been through the steps necessary and the timeline that you guys were given at the last meeting. You determined the use for this TIF plan back in December of 2020, which allows this tax year's assessment 2020 pay 21 to be used as the base, and all the incomes derived from 21 pay 22 then can start, anything above those bases can be taken into the Central TIF District Fund. So I think that kind of is the timeline. We had Plan Commission met their requirements, met the Commissioner's requirements last meeting in March, and we're now to the public hearing portion, to where if the public has anything to say or has questions, that the Redevelopment Commission can entertain that portion before they consider adopting the confirming resolution, which almost finalizes the whole process. I don't know if that was enough or not.
No, you did good. I want to make sure, is this the new district we're talking about, not from Jackson County?
Correct. It is the Jackson Connect.
Yeah, it's Jackson
Yes.
Connect. And it's not raising taxes for everybody.
No.
It's
taking what taxes Jackson would have paid and dividing them from what they pay normally in their base amount to anything growth. That growth amount is put into a specific use fund.
Okay. And the only reason I asked that, because, you know, when it went in the newspaper, there were some people thought some taxes were being raised, and that's not what.
Has nothing to do with tax rate.
Did you say something, Iva or Diane?
Yeah, this is just a public hearing, right? Just to take comments from the public.
Hang on just a second. I want to know if this is just a public hearing to take, yeah, it's not a,
This is just the public hearing, and then after that, you guys can do your confirming resolution if
Okay.
you so move.
okay. So, if it's a public hearing, we have people in the room right now, Lynn and Matt, anything you guys would like to understand or have, ask a question about?
No, I understand that you are creating a new TIF district,
Yeah,
and I understand why.
yeah, and there's, so, Scott?
Yeah.
So what do you need us to do, Tammy? You need us to vote on this? Do we need to read this declaration or anything?
Iva, should he read that public hearing advertisement? I mean, it was advertised in the paper in accordance with the statutes.
Not since public.
So there's no, and should he state there's no objections from the public and then close the hearing?
Right.
Okay, okay, I understand because it's been in the newspaper and there's been no questions about it.
Correct, nobody, I've
Nobody,
had one at my counter to report, I've had one at my counter, and I believe I satisfied that person's interest and gave them, I've given them the map that they asked for, a copy of that, because they wanted to see what areas this encompassed. But I think I've got that person satisfied with the questions
Okay.
that they had.
are we talking about reading both of these?
Just, no, you'll read the confirming resolution,
This
not
one,
the
but not yet.
advertisement. That was what was in the paper. That
Okay.
first thing was what was advertised, and that's your public hearing notice.
This one I may read.
That one you might read,
Okay.
yes.
So, so this is our public hearing, nothing
No
else to do
objections.
there.
So hearing no objections, then you can
Is
close
there,
it.
any- yeah, we have no objections on the public hearing for the establishment of a central TIF district, so we shall move on to that. Do we have to vote on that?
No,
Okay,
you can close the hearing.
Yeah.
so we'll close that hearing part. Diane, you have any issues on that, questions?
No, I understand it.
Okay. So we'll go on to the next topic then, which
Would be
is
your resolution.
very similar. It's a Central TIF District Confirmatory Resolution 2021-009, which I will read this, which is very similar to what we just got through discussing. Scott County Redevelopment Commission Resolution 2021-009, resolution confirming resolution of number 2020-016, the declaratory of the Scott County Redevelopment Commission adopted December 17, 2020, establishing the Central Scott County Economic Development Area and approving the Economic Development Plan for the Central Scott County Economic Development Area. Whereas the Scott County Redevelopment Commission adopted a declaratory commission on December 17, 2020, establishing the Central Scott County Economic Development Area. Whereas the declaratory resolution approved the Economic Development Plan, which plan contains specific recommendations for economic development in the area. Whereas the declaratory resolution established an allocation area in accordance with IC 36-7-14-39 for the purpose of capturing property taxes generated from that incremental assessed value of real property located in the allocation area. Whereas the declaratory resolution modified the definition of property taxes in IC 36-7-14-39A for the purposes of including imposed under IC 6-1.1 on a depreciable personal property of a designated taxpayer and all other depreciable property located and taxable on the designated taxpayer side of operations in the allocation area. Whereas the declaratory resolution designated as designated taxpayer Jackson Connect and all subsidiaries, designees, successors, and assigns on its side of operations in the allocation area. Whereas March 10, 2020, the Scott County Plan Commission issued its order approving this declaratory resolution and plan. Whereas, March 17th through 21, the Scott County Board of Commissioners approved the Plan Commission order. Whereas, on March 24th, 2021, the Commission published notice in the Cartersville Times of the adoption and substance of the declaratory resolution and of a public hearing on the proposed projects in accordance with IC 36-7-14-17 and IC 5-3-1. Whereas, copies of the notice were filed in the office of the Plan Commission, the Board of Zoning Appeals, the Building Commissioner, and any other offices, agencies, or departments having to do with the county planning variances from zoning ordinances, land use, or the issuance of building permits. And whereas, on April 6, 2021, the Commission conducted a public hearing at which the Commission heard from all persons interested in or affected by the proceedings pertaining to the proposed projects or other actions to be taken under the declaratory resolution, and considered all written remonstrances or objections that were filed. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Scott County Redevelopment Commission, that Section 1, the declaratory resolution and the plan as approved by the Commission on December 17, 2020, copies of which are attached hereto and incorporated herein, are hereby confirmed. Section 2, the Commission finds and determines that the taxes to be derived from this depreciable personal property in the allocation area included its indefinite situs distributable property and all other depreciable personnel property located and taxable on the taxpayer's site of operations within the allocation area in excess of the taxes attributable to the base assessed value of that personal property are needed to pay debt service or to provide security or bond issues under Section 25-1 of the Act, or to make payments or to provide security on leases payable under Section 25-2 of the Act in order to provide local public improvements for a particular allocation area. The designated taxpayer's property in the allocation area, including its indefinite situs distributable properties, consists primarily of industrial, manufacturing, warehousing, research and development, processing, distribution, and transportation-related projects or regulated amusement devices as defined in IC 22-12-19.1 and related improvements. And C, the designated taxpayer's property in the allocation area does not consist primarily of retail, commercial, or residential projects. Section 3, the Commission finds and determines that no residency area will be displaced by any of the proposed projects and the Commission is not required to develop plans for transitional or permanent provisions for housing for residents in the area. Section 4, the Secretary of the Commission is hereby directed to file a copy of this resolution together with the declaratory resolution, plan, and factual report, together with list of parcel numbers of real property in the allocation area and the names of owners of personal property with the Scott County Recorder, the Scott County Auditor, the Department of Local Government Finance, no later than May 5th, 2021. The resolution shall be effective from and or after passage, adopted this 6th day of November 2021. Now, does that need a vote?
Chairman?
Yes.
That's May.
Yes.
I will make a motion to confirm the Central TIF District Resolution 2021-009.
Okay, thank you, Iva. Iva's the Vice Chairman. Before we proceed, any other questions?
I'd like to make a correction to that. That should be 6th day of April. When Karen typed this, it didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
it says 6th day of November.
So I
It
will
should
make,
say
no, I will change that.
6th day of April. Yeah, adopted this 6th day of April. It says November.
And
So
you
there.
might ask
Yeah.
if Carl Stout's on the line. He said he joined us.
Carl, are you there? Stout?
I'm here.
Carl, all right, Carl Stout is here and an active member now. Have you heard all this, Carl? The TIF district?
Most of it I did, yeah. I'm looking, I think, at that same information online here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, with no other questions or comments, Iowa Gazaway has made a motion to adopt resolution number 2021-009. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Diane Nauman made the second. All in favor, say aye.
You better say Diane Mullins.
Diane Mullins. Okay, Diane Mullins seconded. Scott, in favor. I'm in favor. Carl is in favor. It passes unanimously. Thank you,
Good
everyone.
job reading that, Tom.
Do what?
She said
You did a great job reading.
There was quite a bit there to read.
Yes, there was.
And Tammy did a good job of explaining this, but this will, over a period of time, bring in some revenue we can use for, mostly, commercial redevelopment.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with this is since the fiber optic, follows the roadways, because Jackson County's infrastructure is typically on utility poles, and they run the fiber optic main cables overhead, then they drop down and tie in, kind of based on their electrical services. The whole premise of this is to use that for roads and drainage improvements.
Yeah,
Cause it's really not tied to any one particular industrial area, like our northern district is.
Yes.
So this could be beneficial over all unincorporated areas of Scott County. So this
Okay.
is potential to do good things all over.
and there is other TIF districts in the county. We have one right now, which is primarily derived out of, the Tri-Hawk area. Scottsburg, I think, has 2 TIF districts. Austin has 1. And it concentrates some money, so we can use it on a lot of different, areas. We've used it to help, everything from the refuge to, our fire departments to EMS, and, so we're
setting up
making.
another couple of TIF districts here in the city.
You have 2 in the
For
city, don't you?
Housing development.
Yes.
Doing residential TIF.
Yeah, okay. Are you on the board, Lynn?
Yeah.
Okay. So you understand this then? Okay. So that being done, let's go on to the next, consideration of additional appropriations. We have volunteer fire departments, projects, unclaimed $17,200, professional service, 21 of $100,000. Can you explain a little bit?
Yes. Whenever the redevelopment commission agreed to offer basically $10,000 for all the volunteer fire departments as part of an infrastructure, improvement outreach thing through redevelopment funds, since the Northern TIF district was amended to include emergency response services, as part of the entire redevelopment project, certain fire departments were able to jump on a board really quickly. This kind of evolved late in the year in 2020, so some of them did not get their projects completed or get estimates back to us. Those successful ones that were encumbered and or partially encumbered or spent on was Jennings, because you guys paid additional monies into the fire substation that kind of covered their allotment. Then Finley was able to bring us an estimate for a repair of one of the engines to one of their trucks. We had encumbered therefore about $2,800 for them to move forward out of the $10,000 that they were allocated in 2020. Lexington Fire Department was able to provide us with essentially a $10,000 invoice that we were able to encumber the 2020 funds and pay out in 2021, and you'll see that a little bit later here on our slate. Johnson has yet to turn in their projects, and that's why there's $10,000, as you can see on your notes that I sent to you, from 2020 that we need to reappropriate because we had nothing to encumber and move monies forward. And then also the remainder of Finley of $7,200. I'm making good on your all's promise basically late in the last quarter of 2020 to give each fire department $10,000. Now in the future, whether you want to give a 2021 incentive or not, that's been something for maybe a later board meeting, but this is just cleanup for 2020 that we had nothing to legally pull any monies forward from last year's appropriations to this year's. So I need to reappropriate the remainder of the 2020 volunteer fire department incentive monies.
So the first thing we're gonna, vote on is the $17,200.
Yes.
Which is unclaimed from last year, to basically be put back in the fund that can be
Yes,
used.
for Finley and Johnson only.
Finley and Johnson. Everybody
Is there a
understand?
motion in favor of that or not?
Yes, you do, because I have to, we have to approve this.
So I'll
yes.
make a motion to pay that.
Okay. Scott has made a motion to pay that forward. Any questions, Diane, Carl, or Iva?
No.
I'm good. No. I'm good.
Diane's good. Iva, you good on it? I need a second, by the way. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Carl seconded it.
I'll second.
Diane voted for it. I think Iva, you're voting for it, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, it would be unanimous and that would pass. I tell you what, before I go any further on this, I'm gonna stop because we're into the fire departments and I think Matt wanted to address this, didn't you, Matt? Discuss some projects for, is it all right to cut through on this and give him a moment? It's just a discussion, so come on up and have a seat. Matt Oberly with the I'm sorry, Iva?
Who are we?
Matt Oberly here from the Lexington Fire Department.
Oh, yes.
He wants to discuss some issues and projects they're working on. Go ahead, Matt.
So, John, I just had one copy. That's kind of a written strategic vision that we put together.
Okay.
So the reason I'm here today, first off, I'd just like to tell you guys thank you for the support last year, the 10,000. That bought us 4 sets of gear for some much needed. I mean, we were actually replaced some 2012 gear with that, with some of our more active people. So there's been much like a lot of else, we have not taken delivery of that yet because of it's still on order, you might say, but the delivery date I think is the end of July, 1st of August for that. So again, appreciate that support. The reason I wanted to come today was I got a hand out here for those not in person. I can email it out if you want to kind of see it. It's some preliminary drafts, but long story short, about 12 years ago, we started a fundraising campaign internally, or more of a saving strategy to try to accumulate some money to upgrade our firehouse. We had some foresight to know that it was not going to last forever. Currently, we're using 2 facilities. One was built in the 50s. The other one was a bank building converted to an office structure with a pole barn built out front, and it served our needs very, very well, but we're in need of updating that again. And in January, early 2020, we formed a committee. But there's 4 of us on that committee to look at strategically what's our 25-year plan, and we wanted to think about Lexington Township, and then how we could partner with others in the county. And all this was pre-COVID. Well, COVID hit, and we were able to still work behind the scenes some. And we came out early this year and hired basically an architect, which is Renaissance Design out of Sellersburg, and they're working with us to draft. That's what I gave you, just kind of some preliminary drawings today. We're still making a few modifications, but our goal is to roll this out at Old Settlers, kind of a not a groundbreaking, but a information to the public or whatever. Say, hey, here's what we're thinking. There's some people know that we're looking at this, some don't, but Lexington's always been supportive of the community, the residents and whatnot. So that's really what I just wanted to bring it up to you guys. I've reached out, spoke to John. I've got messages out to the other 2 commissioners. I haven't physically spoken to them yet, but I would like to do that just so they're on board, or so they know what we're doing as well. But initially when we did this or started talking about this, where's Lexington going to be 25 years from now? We started out thinking, well, if we're about building structures, we have to think about how many trucks we need. So we went through a plan to try to skinny down and run with a minimal amount of equipment as we can, just for maintenance and budget purposes. And then that helped determine how many bays or slots we needed to park stuff. And we wanted to have a little bit of future opportunity for growth should we need it, but then also not build a lot of extra space to maintain and heat that wasn't necessary. So that's where we're at today. Also, and John, in the strategic plan, I put that together to give to the architects so they can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. But it talks through our truck plans. We're looking for a community gathering place to have, up to 50 to potentially 100 people to gather inside. It's designed for drive-through if we want to do food distribution, some type of pandemic testing. I mean, a lot of thought and works went into this to kind of make it a multi-use facility. And then it's always been in the back of our mind for some time about could there be an ambulance stationed in Lexington. I did reach out to the EMS director to see if that was potentially viable. and had a discussion with him about that, and he said yes, he thought that the need was there, that if they had a station in Lexington, that they could probably utilize that. And we had also, as you'll see on our building plans, we incorporated the basement with some sleeping quarters and whatnot. So at this point, this is nothing set in stone. We're just trying to get the word out and seek any feedback that you guys would have. But we're looking for, I mean, we're gonna build a spot in here for the township trustee, whether it would be the trustee now or future one. If they wanted to have an office in the building, it would certainly accommodate that. We intend to build it with sleeping quarters that would service potential for the EMS service, and then we are gonna have a dedicated bay, or intend to have a dedicated bay for the ambulance service, assuming that the commissioners would support that, or if that was interest of them. But at this point, it's an ideal. We think that the need is there, and then with the support of the community, and then I wanted to bring it to the redevelopment commission today, just for right now, we're looking at about 400 to 450,000 is what the estimations are. Some of that's cost of increase. The nice thing is we don't have to finish out the basement today. We don't have to add, there's an optional EMS bay that doesn't have to be added now. I mean, some of this can be done in the future. We have saved for about 12 years a fairly decent amount of money that we're going to put in as seed money. I know, John, you've been very supportive, but all through COVID, we started, quite honestly, we started as a need in the community. We wanted to make sure when things locked down that our township had access to a hot meal, and we started serving meals every Sunday on a drive-through basis, and that went phenomenally well, and actually turned from a community service into more of a fundraising effort for us, because we did take donations. The community was very supportive of that. Some people would leave well in excess of what the cost of their meal was, and then others that maybe couldn't afford that sandwich still got their hot meal, and then we still do that once a month now. And so our department, we put a lot of effort into, and I don't know all the structure of everyone else, but we're looking 25 years down the road. We're actively fundraising monthly, and because we have a pretty thin budget, and we raise the majority of our money. I mean, we're very much appreciate the support of our trustee through our contract with him, but that covers a portion of our budget plus our insurance, and we have to fundraise the rest, and have done that for many, many years. And this building is something else that we're intend to leverage some debt to that. Now, what level our budget will support at this point, we're still working through that, but I wanted to get out in front of you guys for feedback. And then, maybe get it on your radar that if there was an opportunity for some support, we would like to come back and maybe seek some support from the Redevelopment Commission.
And I see nothing but growth over there with River Ridge and all that. I suspect you're gonna see growth, housing built over there. And we've actually had some talk about maybe putting a TIF district in that area. So I see the need. Lexington probably takes longer to get an ambulance there than most places in this county. It's a little further out, so I could see the need for that. Money-wise, we'll just have to see. Hopefully there's some money here we can help with. We'll have to work on that. But and I'm talking for me, not for this board. There are also some opportunities, I think, for some other money be coming into our county in next few months. We'll see how that works out, and there may be something there we can do to help. But I think we're all supportive of the fire departments. So we will just work on that.
Matt?
Yes, ma'am.
How much money are you looking at extra that you need?
Well, so this is all, we've been working on this for quite some time. My intent, ma'am, is to have hopefully the finalized drawings here within 2 weeks, and then we can start the formal bidding process to get an ideal. And they can bid it in phases, whether we finish it. Our contractor's telling, not contractor, excuse me, our designer is telling us in the $400,000, $450,000 range right now. That's without trying to cut anything back, or that's with every wish list included of everything we need. But if you're asking me for what level of support do we need now, I don't have a firm number on that because we don't have the bids done. But and then also, like I said, we're intending on putting some cash into it, but ideally the least amount of money we could borrow would be obviously very beneficial because our first out fire engine's in 1980 and it is in dire need of upgrading. So we have some money set back for that. I mean, a new engine today is gonna be in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, but there are $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 options on used. That's really the budget range we're looking at. And we've got the appropriations for that saved, but that's also part of our potentially building fund. But we need to get the house in order before, I mean, luckily, we've got good support from our surrounding townships. If that truck goes down, we have, we can call mutual aid.
To re-up.
Yeah, we can call in mutual aid and gain some other assistance, but not to dance around your question, but, I think our total bill is gonna be in the $400,000 to $450,000 range, but I don't have a firm number as far as what we're seeking for, assistance today, because there's still a few unknowns.
And you are looking at other alternatives, grants, whatever you can come up with.
Grants are one of the challenging things that we're running into, because I don't know if you're familiar with our setup, but it was an old bank building, a modular that we've remodeled. That's all gonna be tore off, and we're gonna add on to the existing pole barn structure. But the grants, what we're running into is everybody says, hey, tear it down and start over. That's where the grants come in. For a remodel or a rework, the grants are not that conducive for our need. And while we would like to do that, I mean, we were quoted a 4-bay new facility with 4 bays and an office for $800,000. And we have too much good structure there that we can get this accomplished, utilize some of what we have and save it half price. So we felt that was the most economical and best way to move forward and not have that excess cost.
Okay. And today you're here just for information, if I'm correct, and hopefully we can cooperate. Did you say something? I'm sorry. Ivor, was that you?
No, you said he was just here for information. I said, right.
Yeah, he's just letting us know what's going on, and hopefully we can help. I know I want to. We'll have to get with our advisors and see what we can do, but we've helped some other pretty good cyber organizations before, and I'd like to be able to do that again.
Yeah.
But when are you going to be needing an answer?
Well, I mean, I don't know what your all schedule is, but I wanted to plant the seed today
Yeah.
and get you thinking about it. I mean, there's some knowledge at this table,
Yeah.
that you guys know. If you have suggestions, ideals, we're getting the backbone now. But I mean, I would love to begin the bidding process 30, 40 days from now, but we want to roll it out to the community of kind of, here's our plans.
Yeah.
And because I feel like we can raise some money just within the community. Businesses will support us, so on and so forth. I mean, that's how our roots got started was, 10 members and Hanson Quarry, Scott County Stone at the beginning. That helped us get started, and, we can seek from our township members as well some additional support once they kind of get a vision of what we're doing. But I mean, I would like to come back to you guys in 30 or 60 days, whenever you're, but then I can give you exact numbers. Here's our cost. There are some other funding options that we are pursuing. We do have some cash to put into it, but again, that cash, some of that needs to be earmarked for upgrading equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, we run a 1970 tanker and a 1980 engine. That's 2 of our trucks that need updated, and but we need to get, like I said, the house in order first.
So probably early June, we can maybe have some numbers together.
Yes,
Okay.
if that fits your schedule better.
Well, we can
We
work.
call
on it.
as needed, so we're, when we get enough business together, then we can stay in touch. You can check with me to see if we've got any.
Okay.
And if we just need to call a meeting, we'll just call one.
Okay.
Any questions, Diane, Carl?
No,
Yes, I do.
No, I'm all for helping the fire department.
Yeah, I think we all are, and we have helped fire department. We're doing it tonight, matter of fact.
I have,
Go ahead.
Matt, is there any future plans to do anything with the old fire department that's over by the post office?
This call is scheduled to end in 1 minute. Please upgrade your account to remove conference limits.
Did everybody hear that you'll have to dial back in? I think this only lasts for like 45 minutes, so it kind of is a little bit cumbersome, but
Okay,
when it ends, everybody just dial back in.
okay.
If you just wanna hang up now, we can and just re-up it.
Just go ahead and re-up, then we won't have to worry about, we'll have this, just go ahead and call back in, okay?
Okay, be back in a minute.
All right. Technology is wonderful.
How do you, is that like a Zoom?
You're on.
Is that Zoom?
It's an Uber call
No.
system,
Okay, no.
yes.
Where's your video at? Okay, I wasn't sure where I needed to aim at.
It will find you. It will
finds
find you, yeah.
You can hear good music here. Dad's entertaining us again with it.
Matt, you got a finish date that you wanna,
Well, so
that you're trying to look at?
our air conditioner quit last summer in our office portion, which obviously depends on air conditioning, we may do. Our furnace quit 30 days ago in the office portion, and we don't want to spend 10 or 12 grand to upgrade it, so realistically, we need to be in it this fall.
Conference now.
You need to finish your building and everything
We'd like to have the office portion done now.
during the summer here, so you can get.
Okay, I'm back.
Hang on,
Matt,
Ivan.
did you hear my question?
Yes, ma'am. So, to answer that question directly, long-term, the plan would
Hello?
I'm here, I don't think they're back in yet.
Okay.
What's she hit
be.
there?
Is
You
it
hit
mute?
Mike right there.
Mike.
Yeah.
All right, are you there now? Can you hear us?
I didn't get the phone.
Hello?
Yes,
This is John. Can you all hear us?
Yes, I'm here, Diane.
yes.
Ivan, here's Carl. You there? Well, I think we can go ahead. Go ahead, Matt, and explain what you said.
So, long-term, we would intend to phase that building out initially when the transition happens. And we're gonna tear, the whole back part of the firehouse will be removed, so we'll use that for some storage. Currently, we store 2 trucks down there that hold water, so we have to heat that building. But once we get the new facility up, we plan to use the old one for cold storage. That way we don't have to heat it. Another issue, or I wouldn't say an issue, but another opportunity, we're working with Kent Water, or began discussion with them. There is a fill station there that, while it's not used as much as it used to be, it is a community point to where they can come buy bulk water. And we can't decommission that facility at this point because of the community still uses that fill station, and we use it as well to fill our trucks. So I don't know what time frame your question is resuming, but we're going to use it for storage for some time. But 25 years down the road, I don't see us maintaining 2 facilities. That's another reason why we want to get on one location.
Right, okay.
All right, any other questions? Okay, no other questions. Matt, we thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get some answers together for you and can help you
Thank you.
by June. We'll see how that works. Okay, we're going to go on now to the TIF allocation fund other services. No, that will include the VA, Pam.
No, we don't have a dollar amount yet.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
But, I probably need something in writing from them,
Okay,
some more
Oh.
documentation, you see what I'm saying? Where they
Okay.
can tell us our portion, cause they
Okay.
had a presentation at one of the
yeah.
meetings.
Oh, it'd have been there if I'd known that.
Yeah, so we probably need something that I
Can we appropriate but just not dispense?
I have to
unless they-
advertise it, and
okay.
it would be capital outlay.
Okay, that'd be
Yes.
my fault. I thought we had
That's-
all that lined up. They were ready to buy.
Oh, really?
They're gonna have it here next month.
Okay, ooh, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I may have missed
That's
the
okay.
boat in some of our conversation.
Uh,
But the other services has to do with professional, services, expenses. The reason why the dollar amount says $100,000 is just that, it's just an even number, so to speak, and it would carry us maybe the entire year. Doubt we're gonna use that much. Every claim would come before you guys anyway, before it be paid. This is just to appropriate that much money into a line to where whenever there is an invoice that we don't have to advertise and then approve and then advertise. We can just approve the payments and not have to keep re-advertising. We do it once and then be done with it. So you guys can pick any number you want. If you want 50,000, if you want 80, if you don't want any, this is your choice. But we just got it up to $100,000 choice for you guys to put in your professional services, because we will be utilizing Karen. There could be if there's any grant opportunities or anything that could maybe possibly have a River Hills Park, because you guys already agreed to do this, about small business incentive. I don't know if we'll have to share part of that application
Yeah.
fee or not.
So part of that will be in this 100.
That's part of, yes, and Baker Tilly, when they use, when they do, and we anticipate invoices because they do a TIF management plan that goes on Gateway, it's part of the public requirements. They work through that with us, we've got a bill coming for that. There's bond disclosure fees, there's a lot of things that happen.
It's money we're gonna have to pay, and we gotta make sure it's
And I
allocated.
just advertised an amount that was healthy enough to carry us to keep, instead of re-advertising every time we have a meeting.
I'm gonna go back to the van. I think we discussed this the last meeting. The Veterans Administration will provide a vehicle if we'll pay half for it. And our numbers come up, they need 18,900 from us, they'll pay the other 18,900. And it will be specifically, not specifically, it will be mainly used for transportation of our veterans to hospitals, any services needs they need. They may be going to Louisville, they may be just going to the pharmacy or this or that. So it's my mistake, I thought we had it ready to go tonight. And the reason I'm bringing this up again, not only just to let you know we're wanting to do this, but I hate to call another meeting, because we have another meeting as quick as possible.
Just as a reminder too, in the set of minutes that you've got there, Karen Arlen said that she needed to write some language
Okay.
to tie the Veterans Service Administration expenditure capital outlay
Yeah.
to the purpose of redevelopment. So she
Yeah.
said that it was doable, she had to write that language to connect the dots to where this would be an expense that you would want to approve. So I will get with her in the meantime, and then also if you can get them to get me some documentation as to the
Okay.
county's half of that
All right.
vehicle, then the next time before we plan on meeting, I'll advertise in enough time for that $20,000 or whatever we need to come up with the veterans, and then you guys can consider it.
Can we have a meeting in May for this?
Yeah.
You guys be okay with that? Iva, did you hear that? Diane?
May,
What's it now?
I'm talking about, we talked last month about the VA was going to supply a new vehicle for our veterans for transportation to about any medical emergency they need. And I thought we were going to have it on tonight's meeting. I probably didn't get the information here as quick as possible. But I think we can have it together sometime within a month. Tammy could get it advertised. I'll get all the information, get it advertised, and probably meet again next month if that's okay with you all.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Carl, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's one way to help our veterans, and I think we all want to do that. There's all kinds of different reasons we can use to transport these people, and there will be volunteers. There'll be a training process for volunteers to get them to drive the vehicle. So, but that money not only will be enough to buy the vehicle, it'll be enough also to decal it and do all that kind of stuff.
I think they pay for that.
No, they said that money we're asking for will pay for all of it.
Yes, and then they provide the insurance, the drivers, the training, the
Yeah.
fuel, the whatever additional maintenance or whatever's on the vehicle, if we can come up with half of the capital of the purchase.
Okay.
That was my understanding the last time they presented the program to the council and commissioners.
That is correct, and I'll make sure the next meeting I'll have him here. He was gonna have this, they can have the vehicle to us from May to June.
Okay.
So we'll have to get with the commissioner, decide where we wanna park it and this and that, so. That will be next month, so we'll get a meeting next month to get this going on. I'm a little disappointed myself, I thought we had that one lined out, and maybe I should have
And
moved.
Karen's gonna get us some language.
Yeah, to make it allowable.
Correct.
Yeah, so anyway, we're back to the TIF allocation fund, other services, and Tammy's explaining there might be a little cushion there, but it'll take care of things as needed.
Yes.
She's asking for $100,000 to pay for services needed, or we could do less if we wanted to, couldn't we? And
Correct.
come back and do more
And I
of
can
it.
advertise again
If
if
some
we
of
want.
them, if some of them prefer, we could do whatever number we want. We'll be meeting again. We could add more as needed. Anybody got any thoughts on that 100,000? You okay with 100, or you'd like to make a different number?
I'm okay with it. I mean, it's there, and is there, I mean, not that we can't appropriate more to that line, or to that fund or whatever at another time, but that's just, if you've got it, you know what I'm saying, it's,
Yeah, I, yes,
I'm with Diane. All you're gonna spend is what it's gonna cost you anyway, so.
yeah, that's exactly right, yeah,
You're just putting a cap on it then right at this time.
okay. So,
But the claims will come, not the claims, the request will
Yeah.
come to us before anything's approved to be spent, right?
Correct. No, this is just to get the money in the line item, so when we do have a request to pay, we don't have to keep advertising and then wait 10 days to have a meeting.
Right.
so any
But the
spend,
request for them to spend some money will come before this board. We will have to approve the request before they spend, right?
Correct.
that's correct, no money will be spent unless it goes to this board, this just makes it available,
Okay.
okay?
I think that's a good idea, and then you don't have to have, like I said, you don't have to jump through 100 hoops to get things done.
Okay.
Right.
Any other discussion, and if not, I'll ask for a motion to pass.
I'll make a motion.
Diane Nauman Mullins made the motion to pass the TIF. Did I get that right, Diane?
You forgot Diane Eve's on Mullins.
Anyway, I know you. The TIF allocation fund for other services, $100,000. Diane made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Carl seconded. Iva,
Yes, I'm on board.
Scott,
Yes.
vote would be unanimous, $100,000 passed.
Okay, thank you
For
very
future
much.
expenses. Consideration of claims payable to fire service, $10,000. Would you explain that, please?
Yes, and that's in keeping with just what I've reiterated, that we need to move money out, pay bills only after it's before this board requesting that, claims be approved. Matt alluded to the fact that he's on back order, so to speak, with his equipment. This $10,000 is for Lexington Volunteer Fire Department's encumbrance from 2020. We've got the invoice already in hand. The invoice you have a copy of in your packet, it's a little over $10,000, but your allocation was $10,000. So whenever he tells us that this has been received and he's all good with the purchase and the correct items have been received, then he can let us know. And this is going ahead and getting, while we're together, getting approval. If this comes in early, sometimes we get that we can go ahead and pay $10,000 to fire service on behalf of Lexington Fire Department.
So you need a motion for that?
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
Scott made a motion to pass the second by Iva. Diane?
Yes.
I'm in favor.
Carl?
Yeah, I do.
I am too, that makes it unanimous.
Another one there too, John, annual marketing dues.
Oh, I see.
$39.70, economic development.
Okay,
group.
yeah, Economic Development Group annual dues, marketing. That's just a fee we have to pay every year too.
Well, I'll have to explain that one a little bit too, because our Economic Development Corporation is the not-for-profit side of that is dormant right now, because whenever there was no director appointed to the Economic Development Corporation that was over Scott County, so to speak, which is really a combined effort of Scottsburg and the county, because Austin does their own. Then when the city basically pulled from the Economic Development Corporation, so they no longer contract with the corporation part of our economic development. Now it's basically back down to the county. The funds were closed out as far as the checking account that the EDC, not-for-profit, the corporation side ran, and those funds, with the State Board of Accounts approval, was transferred to the county coffers, and now the auditor, it's part of the funds that are audited with the county's funds. So now we basically contract with One Southern Indiana. That's a separate thing than this bill, which says care of One Southern Indiana, because the Economic Development Group is a conglomerate of 10 counties that pull in dues and help with economic development leads. One Southern, who we contract with in place of our not-for-profit that we had before, taps into this economic development conglomerate to help look at leads for companies that pour into this for business opportunities. So it's basically picking up where the old EDC left off and paying dues for economic development leads that our contract user uses. So if you can understand that, I applaud you. But anyway, yeah, and it's part of staying in with an association basically that our contractor uses to check out leads that could be possibly for Scott County.
And our economic development, go ahead, Iva, I'm sorry.
Could you please repeat that?
I don't think anybody,
You're a bad father, Carl, I tell you.
he wants to, he knows how he can, he understands that I've been talking since I've been 8.5 months old, and he just loves to hear me talk.
Just for information, tell me how, I don't want to get this wrong, but when we had our old economic development board, we were putting about 60,000 to that, isn't that correct?
65, yes,
And that's, now we're putting 20,000 in.
20.
So that's what we're putting into. We have a agency now that takes care of several counties that might be able to help us, and I feel I can do as good as what we were doing before.
And this is an
And we still have an
auxiliary,
economic
yeah.
development board.
Yes, and this is like an auxiliary connection. This is increasing our chances for a good contact if we stay involved with this association, because all of these other economic development contractors go into this group to take a look at what's out there and the chatter and what's going on.
And I like the part that we're saving about $40,000.
That's a pretty good thing. Yeah, that is.
Okay. So,
And so I just need approval, and then again, that could be something that we would pay out of this professional services line that you guys just appropriated money to.
Yeah.
So,
but we still pay the 20,000.
yes, yes,
That'll be a different.
yes, and we're, and that,
Motion for,
Go ahead, I can't hear you.
the motion to approve.
Oh, okay, thank you, Iva. Iva Gazaway, Vice President, has made a motion to approve the $3,970 for the Economic Development Group annual dues and marketing. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Carl seconded. Diane Mullins,
I'm in favor.
did I get it right?
I don't know, I cut out or you cut out, I was talking.
We got you, you're good. Scott? Everybody's in favor, and I'm in favor, it's unanimous, so that passes. Okay, the last thing we have is consideration of minutes from the February 26, 2021 meeting. Has everybody read their minutes?
I
Iva?
apologize for that. I had a commissioner visit me for about an hour this morning. He will go unnamed and delayed me a little bit.
Guilty. Have everybody read the minutes or took a look at them, feel confident they're okay?
I'll make a motion they're approved as read.
Carl makes a motion to approve as read. Everybody,
I'll second.
is that Diane?
Yeah, I'll second.
Diane made the second on it. Iva?
Approved.
Iva approves. Scott? Once again, it's unanimous. That is all that's on the, our minutes. That's all that's on our schedule here today. Does anybody else have anything before we adjourn? Anybody in the room would like that? Yes, go ahead.
With this economic development group, is there going to be some kind of a report coming down quarterly or ever so often to show what they have done for Scott County, or?
I can give you a little bit of one just from observation, recent council activity. One Southern has worked with Tri-Hawk because they've established that contact fairly quickly, Iva. And we've actually, council approved an abatement process for hopefully a win on a competitiveness, because you know how Tri-Hawk has sister factories and they're in Ohio, and sometimes they compete for lines and production capabilities, and so they've already approached us. The council has given them an abatement incentive. I've been working with, Mary Jo at One Southern, and she contacts me fairly frequently. They will provide updates as frequently as the commissioners want them to, because
board.
obviously the commissioners are kind of leading, they're the lead now again with this commission, since it's now back at the county level. So Matt, I believe it's Hall, is that right, John? Matt Hall?
Yes.
From One
Yeah.
Southern has already been to a commissioner meeting and provided some information, and he's willing to be contacted anytime. And I feel like, this board could have an open door to them as well. So anytime anybody wants to have their contact information, just let me know and I'll send it to you.
Any other comments? No other comments, we will adjourn this meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, I'm sorry. Scott moved to adjourn, need a second?
Second.
Iva second, all in favor? I know you are, Iva. Yep.
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
meeting's adjourned, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're good at this, I tell you.